Coastline armoring disrupts natural processes and can prevent citizens from walking the shorelines of the Great Lakes, which are held in public trust. In this presentation, Professor Richard Norton says local governments play a key role in preserving the public trust for Michigan citizens.
So the public trust doctrine is a really important doctrine for Michiganders on their Great Lakes shorelines. It traces its roots all the way back to ancient Roman law. And under the public trust doctrine, the state of Michigan owns the submerged lands of the Great Lakes. So shoreland property owners own down to the water's edge. The state owns the lands that is submerged by the water. A couple key points of the public trust doctrine are that shoreland property owners have a movable freehold. When the lakes go down, the shoreline property expands, the property owner owns more beach. But when the lakes come back up and it works away at the shoreline, that transitions automatically to state ownership. So that's a key point. The second key point is under our public trust doctrine, we have a right to walk along the beach below the natural ordinary high water mark. So that basically means the citizens of the state of Michigan have the ability to walk along the dry sandy beach on our Great Lakes, kind of like a sidewalk. I tell folks, stroll, enjoy the beach, don't have a barbecue in front of somebody's home, but you have the right to be there and enjoy it as you stroll along. So now we're left with the really difficult question of, do we save the beach or do we save the beach house? So the thing to know about Great Lakes shorelines is they're very dynamic systems, they're natural systems. They want to move and they move naturally. And so it may look like they're in the same place on any given day that you come down to the shore, but they're actually quite variable in places. And when we get into trouble is when we put a stake in the ground or a house on the beach and we decide we don't want that shoreline to move anymore. So there may be some places where the shoreline is pretty stable, but that's actually pretty rare on Great Lakes beaches. What's more common is that those beaches are highly dynamic and they're moving, and we need to figure out how to deal with the trade-offs. So if we put a house down or a beach property or something and we decide we want to armor that shoreline, we're going to stop the natural processes, and it's probably going to be a losing proposition. The lake is so powerful and dynamic, it'll eventually take those structures away at great expense. At the same time, people want to live on the beach, and that's completely understandable, and they put a lot of investment in. So as a community, we're really faced with difficult questions about how to make sure these natural systems remain natural, how to not disrupt them by trying to groom them when those are wetlands that we want to maintain because of the fish nurseries they provide, those kinds of things. At the same time, allowing ourselves to enjoy those beaches, especially on a calm day when it's a pleasant place to be. So on Michigan's Great Lakes, it turns out that not only do we have a really dynamic natural system, we have a really complex governmental system as well. All of the levels of government come to play. At the center of it all is the state. And that takes form primarily through the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, which regulates shoreline areas right along the public trust, through the public trust doctrine, and in areas that are high-risk erosion areas. The federal government has an important role to play through the Federal Navigational Servitude. So that means the Army Corps of Engineers is involved as well, again, primarily when you're out in the water. In terms of managing the land, though, it's really the state. And the state has really delegated most of its authorities to manage local land use to localities through their planning and zoning authorities. So local governments in Michigan, townships and cities and villages, play a huge role in managing our natural resource base to protect private property interests and allow folks to use their property, but to do that in balance with the natural systems that we have and enjoy. So you want to pay close attention to local governments and make sure they're doing a really good job through their planning and zoning efforts.